Hi, I'm Mike Ryan. In this video, we're going to talk about Zat. Now, in the world of gems, Zat would be the equivalence of brilliance in a diamond or luster in a pearl. It's very hard to describe. It's one of those situations where you know it when you see it, but you can't describe it. Turquoise has had special meaning for many thousands of years. We think it was first discovered as early as 3000 BC in Egypt during the first dynasty, and we know that because it was found adorning the sarcophagus of the pharaohs, accompanying the pharaoh in the afterlife. As early as 2000 BC, it was found in archaeological remains in China, and it was adorning one of the earliest examples of a dragon, which for the Chinese has a very different meaning than in the West, where dragons are sort of ominous creatures. And for the Chinese, they are fortuitous, helpful beings. And the turquoise was associated with that. In Persia, the word for turquoise is Feruze, which, as I understand, means victory. And it shares the same root with the word for turquoise. And the Shah of Iran would put the turquoise on the armor of his warriors looking to achieve victory in battle. And it was so special, he would not trade to other countries because he didn't want them to have an advantage over him when it came to battle. Now, here in the West, perhaps the deepest expression of turquoise has come in the Southwest with the Navajo. And long before the Navajo would adorn turquoise on their jewelry, they would have it in their medicine bags. And my understanding is that the word for blue, word for turquoise, are just separated by one letter. And with the Navajo, language is so important and so powerful. There's a language for children, there's a language for adults, a language for ceremony, and I believe very special language for their singing ceremonies, the healing ceremonies of the Navajo. So there is a special expression of turquoise, a special energy, a special meaning that goes beyond mere adornment. And we call that Zat. So let's see if we can't find some turquoise that shows us Zat. Here are some examples of turquoise which exhibit what, in my opinion, capture the term Zat. Now, that's subjective. Maybe others would see it differently, but for me, these are wonderful expressions of Zat in turquoise. We begin here at the top with a cab, Persian cab, that shows the classic sky blue turquoise. And this would have been the highest grade that the Shah of Iran would have wanted on the armor of his warriors as they wanted to achieve Feruze, victory. We come down to this Bisbee cab, and this cab is not showing the color blue in the photo in the same manner as it is to my eye. And that will often happen. It's very difficult to capture Zat in a photo because it is really the vibration that you're feeling that is coming from the turquoise stone. We come down here and here's this nice big cab of Godbernum. And this really indicates, number one, the color, the vibrancy of the color, which is often called Burnham blue. And also behind there, we see it just a little bit here. And again, it's much more fiery and dominant with what I'm looking at. But we see the interaction of the matrix and the turquoise, which is often found in stones that are demonstrating Zat. As we come around on the other side here, we have a piece of Chinese turquoise. And this shows a very traditional pattern of turquoise that is found in Chinese and also in Tibetan. And to me, it really is more of a kind of a muted look. almost like a subdued look, even though the color is very rich, nice saturation and hue. There's a certain subtlety to Chinese turquoise that I think determines that quality of that. Again, with the very hard background dark matrix that we find in a lot of Chinese stone. Here we have the very famous Lander Blue, perhaps the most expensive turquoise ever. And this one is really nice because it has the traditional background matrix associated with Lander Blue. But here we see up in the top, we see this kind of larger turquoise formation. And then here the more traditional small pinpoint matrix in the blue, but with very, very beautiful color and definition. Finally here, among these cabs, we see number 8. And this shows number 8 in its red web formation. Number 8 came in 2 varieties, the much more common red web, and then the black web, which only came out over a short period. It's very low production. And that was because it was found in a black clay as opposed to the red clay, with number 8 being a pocket mine where the turquoise nuggets were found in pockets of clay. This one is very rare because of its size, because of the very distinct formation of the turquoise within the cab, and its size. It's 300 carats. And even more rare because this cab has a twin. Finally, we need to look at some Carrico Lake. We wanted to have some green in here. So here we have Carrico Lake, and this really is pretty washed out. In real life, this has a vibrancy and an excitement to it that is kind of missing in this photo. But we see different examples of Carrico Lake. Here we have one that has a little bit more of what we call the faustite, the little yellowish aspects to the turquoise. And then down here, a deep, very deep green. And here's one of more of the green apple green. And this down here, this large piece, this large nugget here, has a very rich, saturated green that you're not seeing here on the video, but it really is very distinctive, quite impressive. So we've seen here an example of that elusive term, Zat.